morning, and thank you for joining us here on Face the Empire. I am your host, Hubris Enormous. Our topic today, an inconvenient truth. Reports are coming out of the province of Judea that a seemingly routine public execution has gone terribly awry. Here to talk about that with us today is the press secretary for Pontius Pilate, the governor of Judea, Topicus Avoidum. Mr. Avoidum, thank you for joining us. Hail Caesar.
Yes, Hubris, it's a pleasure to be here. Hail Caesar.
Now, this incident that occurred 3 days ago with the man that was crucified.
Yes, you mean the one that came back from the dead?
Yes.
Well, that's not very typical. I'd like to make that point right now.
How is that not very typical?
Well, there are lots of these people that we crucify every day, and very seldom, in fact, I can't think of when this has ever happened before, very seldom do they come back. I don't want the public out there worried that this is going to be some sort of everyday occurrence.
Well, didn't this Jesus fellow raise a person from the dead just last week?
Ah, you mean Lazarus?
Yes.
Well, I can't really speak to that.
Why not?
Well, for one, he wasn't crucified, was he? He was just simply lying in a tomb.
Does that really matter?
Oh, absolutely. There are lots of things can go wrong when you have a simple natural death. I'm here to assuage the public's concerns about the effectiveness of crucifixion.
Is it effective?
Almost always.
Except for the one that came back.
Well, I don't think it's fair to condemn the entire program just because of one miracle. I mean, you do that, you put scores of people out of work, then we have to go and beg the Roman Senate for a bailout. Before you know it, we're just back to using hemlock.
If crucifixion isn't effective, then why is it used at all?
Well, I'm not saying it isn't effective. It's just that perhaps this one was not quite as effective as the other ones.
Why?
Well, usually when we crucify somebody, we do it so that they don't come back at all.
Wasn't this one carried out to where Jesus wouldn't come back at all?
Obviously not.
How do you know?
Well, because he came back. I mean, now there are these throngs of believers. I mean, look at them. They're out there celebrating in the streets, passing out brightly colored eggs, singing the Hallelujah chorus, or I am free, or some sort of thing like that. No, you're not free. We own you. Wearing strange hats, and they're even crowding in Roman Tuesday across the street at lunchtime. I mean, it's a bit of a giveaway, and I'd like to reiterate the point that it is not normal.
So I suppose that allegations that this particular ineffective crucifixion is the start of some sort of trend are ludicrous?
Absolutely ludicrous.
What happened in this case?
Well, he came back in this case, but that's very unusual.
Why did he come back?
Personally, I blame the environment.
The environment?
Absolutely. It's not nearly as cold outside as it used to be. We are experiencing a crisis of Roman warming. Now, take a look at this, Hubris. Now, this painting of the Alps was painted 5 years ago. As you can see, the mountains here are covered with snow.
Secretary, this is not really appropriate.
Now, this painting of the Alps was done just last month. As you can see, there is a significant decrease in the amount of snow on the mountains. Hubris, the empire has a fever.
Well, we're straying from the topic.
All these fires from the conquest by the empire can wreak havoc with the environment, causing all sorts of effects.
Like the return to glory of God's Son?
Well, one can speculate.
What do you think will happen now?
Well, this Jesus fellow, although he's very cunning with his Chris Angel mind freak tactics, is just a flash in the pan. I doubt we'll hear very much more about him.
Secretary of War.
All this celebrating will be over by December. I mean, it's not like this is the beginning of some sort of movement or something. I mean, odds of that would be phenomenal.
Yes,
Besides, what would the followers call themselves? Jesusians? I mean, that just doesn't roll off the tongue very well. Or Christians? I mean, that sounds like they're from one of those southern provinces like Mississippi or something like that.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, if we followed up on every one of these Jewish zealots that's claimed to be the Messiah, we'd spend all our time in the desert of Sinai. What a god-awful place to be. Or Galilee?
Who Wants to Marry an Emperor?
I mean, we should be some Roman Corsica. Hail Caesar. The Roman Corsica, someplace like that.